Well, good morning. Thank you for having us this morning. I know that I have a limited amount of time. I have a lot of information that I want to get to you. It's going to be like drinking from a fire hose, so please bear with me. But one of the things that we want to emphasize heavily is that cyber attacks are the silent killer of businesses, because it's out of sight, out of mind. If you're not thinking about it, if you're not being proactive about it, you don't have the systems in place to really prevent attacks or manage the risk, as we like to say. It's because it's all about managing the risk, because it's no longer a matter of if an attack will happen, it is a matter of when the attack will happen. And that is a huge shift in mindset. And so, like you said, I am Tony Alberti. I'm a part of the customer success team at Chrysalis MSP. We are experts in cybersecurity as well as managed service providers. And so that means if it connects to the internet, we manage it, we work with it, and we are experts in that field. And for me, I have a background in church. I've been a pastor for the last decade. I'm still a pastor. I'm currently a worship pastor in Liberty, Texas. And so one of the things that actually brought me to Chrysalis is that we are all about using our God-given talent to help people through technology. And so for me, I connect with people. I love people. I want to develop people. And so how I use that is I am in a field within the company where I get to go in and help you develop your business from a standpoint of safety, security, and what helps your bottom line with technology. And so just a quick agenda. I'm going to go over what a risk assessment is. I'm going to ask you a question of, are you a sitting duck? Emphasize that things have changed. Talk about the increasing attacks, the security challenge, and the new cyber reality. So what a risk assessment is we come in from a high-level consultant standpoint. We look at your system. We go over all the odds and ends. We actually have our security officer with us, our information security officer, and he is in charge of this process. He has given us high-level questions to ask you as business leads and business owners so you can understand the new reality that is cybersecurity. Now, this is normally a $2,500 value, and we are giving away 10 of them today. So we want to give away 10 of them to you today so you can understand the real risk that is within your business. All right? So all you have to do is I put a card on your table, fill out that card. We're going to draw randomly and see who the 10 people that get the free risk assessment are. Okay, so please fill out that card so we can collect them. Just bring it to us after today. Aiden, Gregory, and myself will take them. So are you a sitting duck? Because 1 in 5 small businesses fall victim to a cyber attack every year. So if you actually take that card that I just mentioned and flipped it over, there's a red dot on a few of them. So if you have a red dot, lift it up in the air. You just fell victim to a cyber attack. So look around the room, keep your hands up, look around the room. That means everybody here with the red dot fell victim to a cyber attack. That is how aggressive this is, and it's only increasing. Because things have changed. Like I said earlier, it's no longer a matter of if it will happen, but it's a matter of when it will happen. So are you prepared for the when? Are you prepared for the time that it's going to happen? Or are you sitting idly by with your head in the sand, not thinking about it? Because that's what most business owners want to do. Oh, I don't want to replace that PC. That's money right now. We don't have that. We need to focus on this over here. We're expanding the business. I want to focus on bringing new employees. They can use the old equipment. We deal with this every day. This is a reality that is happening. And so much so that not only are 1 in 5 small businesses attacked, but the small businesses don't think that they're going to be attacked. Because I'm too small. But small businesses are the low-hanging fruit because you don't have the systems in place that manage the cyber attacks. Does anybody in here, do you train your employees? Do you have cybersecurity training for your employees? Raise your hand. High and proud. That's awesome. Okay. Does anybody in here understand the difference between a breach and a compromise? If you do, raise your hand. If you understand the difference between a breach and a compromise, awesome. What's the difference between a breach and a compromise?
A breach is when they actually get into your system and are able to exploit everything from the inside. A compromise is when some part of your system has been, like, say your printer has been utilized for the breach to your system.
That's actually correct. Yeah, most people get that backwards. And so a compromise is when they get into your system, A breach is whenever they actually exploit data and take it out. Most people get that backwards, so that's awesome. So it's changing. Things are changing so much that the average daily cyber attacks worldwide are 60 million attempts. 60 million attempts. So if you're a part of the 1 in 5, raise your hand. 60 million, 1 in 5. Okay, this is happening every single day. And people see a phishing email and they're like, oh, it's okay, I'll just delete it. But they don't do anything to prevent that, because what they're really doing is social engineering to attack the human. It doesn't matter the systems you have in place if you aren't training the human that's operating the system. If you aren't training the human, what happens is they'll get a phishing email, they won't realize, they'll click the link, and you're one click away from your business being breached. Just one click. So it's very important. I'm not trying to scare you, I'm just trying to inform you, but how serious this is. See, in March of 2021 and September of 2021, you're going to see the difference between cybersecurity insurance, because what happens is they're like, oh, I'm breached, but I have cybersecurity insurance, I'm okay, right? Well, the difference is back in March of 21, there was one sheet you were filling out. September of 21, there were 6. Now we're seeing it. We just worked with a law firm the other day. They had 15 pages of what they were doing, what they were being compliant to. So this is a very serious situation that's constantly evolving. And if you aren't taking proactive steps to combat it and get out in front of it, you're already behind. Because this is the security challenge. In 2019, that's 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago now, every 4.2 seconds there was a new malware strain. 4.2 seconds. We couldn't keep up with it then, and it's only advanced. How many in here use email? Raise your hand if you use email. You send emails every day, you communicate, right? 92.4% of attacks happen via email. 92.4%. Are you putting training in place to prevent the attacks from actually happening? Do your employees know what to look out for? Do you know what to look out for within an email to prevent a phishing attempt? And then, on average, it takes 120 days to discover a data breach. So 1 in 5, raise your hands again, red dots. That means it's 120 days before you figure out that somebody was even in your system. And then on top of that, people don't understand the financial cost of a breach. 60% of small and medium-sized businesses go under within 6 months of a breach. You're like, well, how is that possible? They just shut me down. I got my files back. Well, because this is what it looks like. This is an example from a business we just did a risk assessment on. They had 15 users, multiple locations. They were in the hospitality industry, $10 million worth of annual revenue, and the risk that was in their environment was $27.9 million. Could they recover from one incident of $27.9 million with $10 million worth of annual revenue? No, because there is a cost associated with a breach, because the government associates a dollar amount to every file that was breached. Then on top of that, you have to hire a incident response manager. You have to hire a forensics team. You have to hire credit monitoring that monitors the credit of everyone that was affected by the breach. You are responsible for this. Not your IT company that you use, not the person that caused the breach. You as a business owner and business manager, you are responsible for this. So this is the new cyber reality. Option 1, if you're not doing anything, you're like this guy at the bottom of my screen here with his head in the sand. You lose everything and eventually go out of business. You can't get your files back. Option 2, maybe you have an IT company. Maybe you are backing up your data. Maybe you are, taking some measures. And sure, you'll be down for a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks. But we actually had one incident with a client where they were attacked. He responded to the attacker and said, I'm a deacon at my church. I do everything right. Is there any way we can work this out? And he said, no, I just want the money. That's all the hackers care about. They just want the money. And so what happened was he called his insurance agency. The insurance agency was like, all right, do this stuff. And so we came in as their provider for IT. And he was like, I want you guys to get me back up and running now. Thankfully, they had just ordered a new server. We had that in our stock room. We were working on it. And we were able to get them up after 7 days of 24/7 work. It took 7 days of 24/7 of our team dedicated fully to that client, not taking care of any other clients, but fully to that client to get him back up and running. And he still lost his case against the insurance company because they found him liable for the issues. because things have changed. If you aren't changing with them, they're going to leave you behind. And so I just want to review. 1 in 5 small businesses falls victim to a cyber attack. Raise your hand if you use email. 92.4% of attacks happen via email. So say it with me. Things have changed. Come on. Things have changed. There we go. Things have changed. 60% of small businesses go under. We don't want you to be the business that goes under after spending 15, 20 years of dedicating your life, working day in and day out, and you lose everything because of one mishap. And insurance requirements are becoming more thorough. They're becoming more strenuous, right? And then on top of that, there's just this fun thing that happened back in May of the FTC safeguards. Raise your hand if you're in any sort of finance industry. Right? You financial advisors, a mortgage broker, right? If that's you, raise your hand. You deal with financing motor vehicles, all these different, taxes, CPAs, all of these different specific industries within finance now have requirements that you have to have a risk assessment every year, and you have to be training your employees. You have to have policies in place in which your employees are submitting to. These are the things that are changing. That was an update in May of 2022. And so things have changed. So one last time, say it with me. Things have changed. So don't get stuck. Come talk to us. And like I said, today we want to give away 10 risk assessments. These assessments are going to help you understand and manage your risk better. Thank you so much.